A buy European rule is coming. Is it a good idea? All right, really, really interesting topic here. I'm extremely curious about this. I haven't heard anything about a buy European rule coming from the EU. This channel specifically is EU Made Simple. I'm not sure if this is associated with like the actual EU or if it's just a channel title name, but nonetheless, we're going to check it out. We have this topic of conversation quite a bit here in the States, especially for like your average American talks about wanting to buy American. They like American products. We just don't have many of them because we're a consumer country and everything gets imported to us, and they just know that Americans are going to buy pretty much anything as long as it's cheap. So yeah, without further ado, smash the like button and let's dive into this one.
China, you have made in China. In the US, there's buy American.
In America, you have made in China as well.
And in Canada, yes, you guessed it, you have made in Canada. These sound like super simple slogans, like support your own country, please. But underneath all of this, there's something much, much bigger. They're government rules that tell the state, when you spend public money on roads, defense, factories, you must buy domestic first. Which means that foreign companies, including European ones, usually come in second place. So the question now is super simple. Should us Europeans do the same? Is it time for a buy European policy? And honestly, this discussion really is not new. Because if there's one country that loves this idea, it's France. Paris has been shouting, Europe needs its own industry, since basically the invention of the EU. In 2012, Nicolas Sarkozy tried a Buy European Act. Big name, even bigger speech, and then everyone went home and forgot about it. And then in 2017, Emmanuel Macron rebooted the idea with a new buzzword, European sovereignty. Again, same message, new branding, and once again it went nowhere. But France never drops this stuff. And now they're back again. This time, the French Commissioner for the Internal Market, Stéphane Séjourné, is pushing yet another shiny new label, Made in Europe. His proposal is designed to speed up Europe's industrial independence, especially in clean tech. It would give explicit priority to European-made products in public contracts, specifically in defense, digital infrastructure, and heavy industry. You know, green steel and aluminium. The idea is simple. Made in Europe will set minimum levels of EU-made content for key products. For example, if we look at electric cars, early drafts of the proposal floated a rule where government subsidies and even consumer bonuses would only apply if 70% of the car is produced inside of the EU. In other words, 70% needs to be European, 30% can be non-European. Max. Otherwise, the public money stays in the bank. And according to a leaked draft, the goal of this proposal is very ambitious. Because right now, the EU makes up around 16% of global manufacturing. That puts Europe behind China, which, interestingly enough, is actually coming down.
Yeah, that's pretty wild that China's like, when was this? It looks like it was right around COVID that China started going down and Europe started going up. Looks like the US has been on a steady decline since 2004. That's pretty wild. Not too wild, like unbelievable. I 100% believe it, but I think countries making their own products is really good. I was kind of curious why, especially when he was talking about the green electric cars, why not just make it for all cars though? You know, like why only green? I know the movement to go fully green in Europe is like a huge topic. People are very passionate about it and I totally get it. But at the same time, I'm a little bit of a realist. So, you know, you can't make a full switch over into fully electric right away. So why not do both at the same time?
We're ahead of the US, which really surprised me and kind of made my day. Take that, Mr. Trump.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, seriously, who wants your cars anyway? By 2030, as part of the industrial strategy, the EU wants manufacturing to make up at least 20% of global manufacturing. And it's also about jobs. Right now, around 30 million people in Europe work in manufacturing. But if you look very, very closely, that number is ever so slightly shrinking since 2022. And the whole point is to stop that slide, to actually make manufacturing jobs grow again.
and this is not like, I have some thoughts on this. I don't think this is specific to Europe at all, but I think manufacturing jobs, especially with robotics and AI coming, I just don't know how long that industry has left. And I'm not talking like a couple of years, but if you fast forward 10 years from now, I saw this video of this robot cleaning bathrooms the other day, and it absolutely blew my mind. It's just, do we really think that these large corporations aren't going to replace your average workforce with robots? I don't know. I don't know how we get around it. You're going to probably have to set some types of laws or regulations. It's going to be a crazy couple of decades, you guys. I have no idea what's in store, and I don't plan to know, but definitely something
Made in Europe proposal was co-signed by more than 1,000 business leaders and trade union reps from across all of the EU. So on paper, it looks like a pretty solid coalition. But not everyone is on board, including the car industry. And back in December, 9 EU member states urged extreme caution. Their message was that European preference is fine, but only as a very, very last resort. And their concern is pretty straightforward. European companies don't build things using only European parts. Their supply chains are global. Take this new French electric vehicle startup called Vercor. It's opening a brand new battery gigafactory near Dunkirk. Exactly the kind of project this policy is supposed to encourage. But more than half of their battery content still comes from Asia. And under that new 70% made in Europe rule, that factory already fails the test. And as mentioned before, we simply cannot forget that Europe produces things under stricter rules: climate, the environment, and labor. And while that's obviously great, we really don't want our people working in sweatshops. It also makes production a lot more expensive. And critics raise 2 further red flags. First, more red tape. Companies would suddenly have to prove exactly how European their supply chains are, what percentage is made inside of the EU, and what still comes from abroad. And yeah, that simply means a lot more paperwork and compliance, and could be especially painful for startups that don't have a massive amount of staff. And second, trade deals. A hard buy European push risks annoying trade partners the EU spent years negotiating free trade agreements with. And with all of this in mind, Germany came up with a completely different idea. Instead of Made in Europe, Germany's economic minister, Katharina Reiche, is pushing for something a little softer: Made with Europe. The idea is less about drawing hard lines and more about combining Europe's own strengths with cooperation with trusted global partners around the globe. So, that in mind, what happens next with Made in Europe? EU leaders will take their positions at an informal summit this Thursday, with Council President Antonio Costa already signaling that...
Let me see. This came out 1 day ago, so that's today. I have to check on that. But you guys probably see this sometime next week. I'm like really, really into this video.
This Thursday, with Council President Antonio Costa already signaling that some form of European preference is simply unavoidable. And then, later this month, the Commission is set to unveil legislation linking subsidies and public contracts to local content in strategic sectors. Though, I could imagine that 70% figure is very, very likely to change. So, this is what I think. In general, I really do believe that some form of Buy European is absolutely necessary. The world has changed, and pretending it hasn't is just naive. But for me, everything comes down to 2 massive questions. And the first one is, what actually counts as strategic? Because this really has to be tight and focused. We do not want an excuse to build another massive new Brussels bureaucracy that has to monitor how much of these supply chains from European firms are actually European and which ones aren't. Plus, we don't want our firms to spend half their time at doing admin work rather than focusing on their actual business. So, the scope has to be specific. Chips, defense, batteries, sure. But let's keep it this small. And the second question is even trickier. What really counts as Europe here? Yes, of course, the EU comes first. But what about our near neighbors? And what about all of our other EU candidates? And what about our global partners that clearly share our values? I made an entire video about this a week ago, about a tiered EU, where EU membership is split into 4 layers. And honestly...
He put the opinion thing there at the top.
Yeah, close partners, democracies, and allies could count towards our Made in Europe quota. I think that makes complete sense. And Honda has been saying something similar. They have been producing cars in the EU for more than 60 years, and they have argued that Made in Europe should really mean made with common values. And to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I think this is quite a good idea. We could even build this into our trade agreements. It could be like a bargaining chip with any future deals we make, that if they join us in this trade agreement, they could be part of our Made in Europe quota. And on the topic about...
Yeah, but is it really made in Europe, though, if it's made in Japan? I mean, unless the factory is in Europe, then I would say, yeah, that's made in Europe. But, you know, if you're still having parts made over in Japan, that's just more jobs for the Japanese people rather than the Europeans.
Buying European, we at EU Made Simple are super European. Johnny, get over here, man. Get over here. Let me make some space. Here we go.
Hello, guys.
Who the hell are you, man?
Well, guys, you might not know me, but I'm Jonathan. Basically, the German Lambertus, right?
Yeah, the German Bears with your own channel, man. Like,
I'm running the German channel of EU Made Simple.
you need to work on your subscribers.
Okay.
Anyway. But we also have a Romanian channel.
Right, his name is Dodo, our channel manager in
Got a
Romania.
Romanian one, too, huh?
And we have a French channel.
Paul, exactly.
Colleague Paul in Paris.
You might know us
I
from
gotta subscribe
know
to
him from
these
our
guys.
live streams. He's on there quite often.
So we're quite a big team right now. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, look at this picture here. We even met in Romania last week to make the whole strategy for EU Made Simple.
Yeah, that was a big catch up, and that was possible thanks to your help, to be honest.
Yeah, seriously, guys, really thanks to your help, because even this very office we're in right now in Munich is financed by your contributions.
And we even have a new coffee machine right now.
I
Well,
knew you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to bring it up. No, but really what we'd like to say is thank you. Seriously, thank you. We're almost at our target of 1,400 euros sponsored by you, with which we can pay all of this.
Dang.
So our overheads,
Doing
like our
good.
office and all of the other additional software, etc. So if you want to support us, please do, so we can reach this target and make more content.
Thank you.
And also a big thank you to all of our presidents. Christian, Peter, Clement, Daniel,
All right, guys, go show EU Made Simple some love. Loved the video, loved the content, loved the topics. Really, really interesting, even for an American. Okay, I know pretty much, you know, I don't know. I try not to pay too much attention to the American news that I get, and I try and like indulge in different news sources. So I'm really happy that I found them. So thanks for the recommendation, you guys. I'm getting out of here, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.